What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Retro Matador. My name is Retro.
And I'm Matador Gabe.
And we are back with episode 4, the mid-season of the Penguin.
Man,
now,
is it already
Matador,
mid-season? God.
already mid-season of this mini-series, which
True.
we forget to explain. So we only have 4 episodes left, and then we have to wait for, what, a year? 2 years?
2? I thought it was next year. It's 2?
For the Batman 2.
Oh.
We will look to make sure to give you that date because we aren't 100% sure. But I don't want to give any false hope. But I know it's a while away. They have not started production yet. They are in pre-production. So yes, we're gonna have some time to wait for the Batman 2. Now, Matador. Before we got on, we discussed this. This episode is the highest ranked episode in the Penguin. Last week, I thought that was my favorite episode. This week comes around, and now I don't know what my favorite episode is because it's all starting to connect and just all become this one great flowing story. And each episode elevates itself every time.
Yeah, I agree. I think so far, I'm super impressed. Not with, like, the pacing in the episode itself, but the pacing of the show. Like, just the way they're telling the story. Each episode is doing what it needs to do, but they all stand on their own. And, if you told me I'm going to get this series out of the way and I have to wait 2 more years for the Batman 2 to find out what's going to happen at the end, that's going to be a cliffhanger that's going to sit with me, but at least it's not the second Joker movie.
Which we have not done a review about, but we will do that review
Someday.
Someday. But Matador has put out a video explaining that I will not be here this week for the next few episodes. I will be out at the Austin Horror Film Festival, as well as, we just got through off a set of filming a movie. I'm not going to say the name yet. We're going to have to wait, but he is giving you a hint. But I will be also helping, hopefully more with, post-production or just getting things together for the editor and the writer, things of that nature. So I will be taking a little break, but not too big of a break because we have some things to talk about.
So what do you guys want to talk about?
Now, Matador, back to the Penguin episode 4. Now we have to talk about how it opens. For one, it has this beautiful scene of it reflecting Sofia and Penguin, leaving us off from episode 3 with them being held down by a gun by the Maronis, but it's reflected in a puddle of water on the ground, and then it rises up slowly to their point of view, which is insane. These shots in this episode are so amazing.
The filmmakers, they're doing their job for sure. The cinematography has been amazing for the whole series, but I like the opening because it let me know what happened, but I dislike the opening because, man, so far I've been like, Oz, you're the man. You're like Tony Soprano to me. I love you, and I just, like, I can't get enough of you, but this just gave me the slimiest, like, the rattiest. He's like, I'm not a rat. No, you're a rat, dog. And it's so bad because he's such a good character. So here's the reasons why I don't know if I'm going to be able to say that I fuck with Oz by the end of this miniseries. I don't know, because it just feels like they're showing me exactly who he is, and I've been fooled the whole time so far. But this is that first little, like, alright, I know that he's a bad guy. I know that he's untrustworthy to those people, but I trust him. And this is what I was saying about with Victor last week, that it's like I would be upset by the end if he betrays Victor, but now I'm seeing it as he's definitely going to betray Victor at the end, and I'm going to be mad.
So now I understand how you feel about, Victor and Sofia and how Oz is treating them, but we're supposed to feel that way, that, we're connected to this character, and then they portray us like we are a part of the prestige in this whole thing. Like, that's what keeps us coming back to the shows, because we've never seen Oz in this light. He's always just kind of been a Batman villain. Not kind of. He's one of the biggest Batman villains. But we've never seen him we have in Gotham and in Returns.
We've seen him a bunch of times. But
you know,
I know what you're trying to say.
I feel like this is a layer that we haven't seen him work to be sleazy and slimy. Like, we have seen it, but not this deep. Right. And for him to fool us.
Right, it's because they gave him a lot of better attributes. They gave him some wholesomeness, some values that he sticks to, and then we're seeing it, and we're like, I can agree with that. Like, if I was in his world, I could see why I would do that as him, but then that breaks down when you see him just be like, I was going to give you everything. It's okay, right in front of Sofia, right after telling her that, oh man, I care about you so much and I just want to do everything for you. And then he just like...
So our audience, we are, talking about Oz's character, but we do want to let our audience know the exact part we're talking about. Once the episode starts, it shows this beautiful shot, but it picks up right after episode 3 where the Maronis come and hold Oz at gunpoint. And the last thing we saw is Victor ran into a Maroni goon, picks up Oz, and leaves Sofia and says, fuck it, leave her. We see it from Sofia's point of view, and he just leaves her. He leaves her to die. Yeah, and after he said, I love you, I'm sorry, this, he fucking leaves her. He is a slimy scumbag. He will do this to get over on whoever, but that's Oz. And we talked about this a little bit earlier in the week, Matador. We compared him to Tony, and you were so upset by Oz's actions in this episode. You were like, that's not Tony Soprano.
Right.
But I explained to you, we have to look at Tony Soprano as a whole, and you have to agree with me on this. So Tony Soprano by season 5 was Oswald Cobblepot right now.
Yeah, reluctant to say I have to agree, but I feel it. I hope we get a little bit more like pulled back towards the Oz side, 'cause I feel like they just like cut the rope. And now I'm like, man. But I mean, hey, listen, that's just the beginning of the episode. You see that? We took all of that from the first 3 minutes of everything they told. They told so much story in the first 3 minutes without even getting into the crux of the episode. And I mean, we're about to go into it. So from that moment, she's left on the wall, and then she moves on to a flashback where now she's back in the day where she's just this nice girl at one of the town hall things or whatever, and this reporter lady comes up to her trying to talk to her about, hey, you could probably be doing something about all the tragedies that are happening, and she kind of insinuates that it's her dad that's involved in all of the different disappearances and stuff, and all of the situations, maybe your dad has something to do with it. And for the first time, Sofia's getting this other perspective, much like Tony's kids, where they know he's the mob boss, but they don't really understand how hardcore that is. And, but if they see it, they'll be shocked. But at the same time, it's I kind of know that he does that, right? And so she kind of knows, but she'll even later on tell her brother Alberto, I mean, what do you think about Dad? We know he does this stuff, but do I really know him? And so she's finally getting met with somebody on the outside saying, hey, your dad is more fucked up than you think he is, and what are you gonna do about it? You're in a place where you're trying to help people, but that's not enough, because I mean, you really are the one that could be helping.
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad you brought it up, that about Alberto and Sofia. And you have Catwoman, Selena Kyle, which are all 3 of these kids are Carmine's children. In the comic books, they all have a villain story. Well, Catwoman is more of an anti-hero and turns to hero. But all of Carmine's kids, because of his actions, they were actual Batman villains. You have Alberto as the calendar killer in The Long Halloween. You even have Sofia as the hangman, the actual hangman, within the Long Halloween as well. And then you have Catwoman who's helping Batman along the Long Halloween. So
Right.
when it came out years ago and told us this would be based on the Long Halloween,
I mean, they did that.
it's starting to expand more and more into the Long Halloween. Now they are taking some characteristics away from these characters. Alberto was murdered by Penguin. The calendar killer was actually the Riddler. Sophia's not really the Hangman, which we'll get into this with this episode. But Catwoman's Catwoman. She's always gonna be. You can't change it.
And all those events on the Long Halloween happen under Batman's watch, which Batman's not even in existence at this point in time. Bruce Wayne is, but Batman is not, because by the time we get there, we're looking at a much like 10 years later type situation.
Yeah.
Where Batman, that was year 2 for Batman. Yeah. So Batman's not there yet while we're in the flashback. Clarification, while we're in the flashback. Penguin episode happens after Batman, so I'm not saying that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
So we have these characters from the comics. We're going to bring up another character later on that's from the comics, but these stories are being told in a different sense, and it's very interesting on how they're telling these stories. Now, Matador, I do want you to tell us about the flashback of after she speaks with the reporter. You know, Penguin does snitch on her for talking to the reporter. Carmine does, throw her in Arkham. Please tell me how you felt about this Arkham-centric storyline with Sophia after she was thrown in for pretty much finding out that her father, spoilers, is the Hangman.
Right. So, I mean, at least that's the story that they're telling us, right? And this is part of... Well, just one of my theories that I want to bring out in a minute. But so, yeah, we go through, and again, like Sophia first off is being told by Carmine, like, hey, I'm so proud of you. You're so amazing. And I think that you're going to be my heir. And like, I get it. Alberto's my son, but I mean, you're better. So I'm wanting you to be that guy. And Sophia's like, well, like everybody else is not going to go for that. He's like, don't worry about everybody else. Like, I got it. They're going to listen to me, right? Like, So he's already pushing that authority. We know how he is. But then she asks about her mom, and, we see that her mom died hanging, and we see that Carmine comes in, and in her memory, she sees that he has scratches on his hands. So detective clues are there to suggest that he, in fact, is the Hangman, which later on... That's part of the whole situation, and Sophia like tells the reporter like, I'll meet with you, but then doesn't really say nothing. But Oz is the one that drove her there, and he tried to be like, hey, you shouldn't be talking to nobody because that's not how we do stuff. Like, basically the rat's telling the don't be a rat, right? Like he's saying the code, but then we go back and then they're at a party and then Oswald shows up in a fancy new suit. Where'd you get your new suit?
Caught that. You caught that. It was a nice, brand new spanking suit.
I mean, it was way better than his driver suit. I mean, boy got a chunk of change for, again, telling Carmine about Sophia's meeting with the reporter, which completely changed, what he was thinking about. Oh, you finna run stuff. Like, no, now you're talking to reporters about me, and and then she said, well, we don't know what happened with my mom, and I saw scratches on your hand. So basically she starts to accuse him, and he's like, yeah, there's something wrong with you. You're sick. And boy, he gaslit her so hard. And yeah, lo and behold, he basically sets it up to, it's time for you to go. And when she leaves, the Penguin drives her away, and as they're trying to drive away, they get got by some popos, and she gets caught up, and she is being framed. At least this is where we're going story-wise. She's being framed to be the Hangman. And so she goes to Arkham, and, shit hits the fan. And I just thought that the way she got there, it makes sense. Everything points to Carmine being the Hangman. We talked about this too. Even in the Batman, he's strangling these women.
Yeah.
He's like that's how he kills them. And you made a point to say that they're no longer hanging, and that's probably because at this point he's made her the hangman, so he can't hang nobody else, because then it'll be like, well, she's locked up and people are still getting hung, so he's just strangling them and putting them away a different way. But
yeah,
he did that. He did that to Catwoman's mom, and then he tried to do that to Catwoman. He was going to strangle her to death. So I mean, it makes sense that he's the hangman when you have all those things come together, and I like that they did it that way.
Yeah, so, Carmine did try to blame the fact that Sofia found her mother hanging, and that's what made this psychological twist in her brain that she's the hangman and all this stuff. He threw his own child under the bus for his own gain. Now, what really disturbed me in this episode, because he did that, he sent her to Arkham, and it's like being booked into jail. You're dehumanized. She's used to this lavish life. Sofia's stripped down of this beautiful dress she has on, her makeup. She's thrown against the cold Arkham wall, sprayed down, dirty utensils that they have to use.
Spread
if
your
you know
cheeks,
what I mean.
Lift your sack.
Yeah, they really treat her inhuman, and she's telling them, I didn't do it, and she gets put in Arkham. She does all this. Man, I'm sorry. It's a tough episode.
It really is, though.
Because you see someone that is pleading for their life, knowing that they're innocent, and their father not only putting you there, but still controlling your every move in prison. Your every move, every doctor, every meal, every court appearance, everything that happens in Arkham. Your father controls your life and makes it a living hell. When earlier, you were his best friend.
That's messed up, man. That's messed up. I just, as a girl dad, I could never betray my daughter that way. I could never. And it's hard, but I mean, we saw it. He doesn't have no feelings for nobody. It's Carmine all the way, and then it's just like, I'm not gonna give up the power that I have until I'm dead. Y'all can have it when I'm dead, but I'm not dead, so y'all can't have nothing. And y'all mess it up while I'm alive, like, fuck y'all. And it's just messed up, man. Like, it takes a real psychopath to really hit that level and have no remorse towards your kids. And yeah, nah, I mean, she gets in there and it's a shit show from the start. She gets to meet her little roommate, and it turned out to be Magpie, who's, basically a nobody, but we know her. She's a known nobody. She's one of the D-listers. And, I mean, it bears no significance. So like what you said, it's like it could have been anybody in Arkham. I feel like this was my time to be like, hey, let me do some detective work. Why'd they pick Magpie? And the only thing I could think of, which doesn't, it might be a big stretch, but the only thing I can think of is that they picked Magpie because Magpie was Poison Ivy's cellmate, not cellmate, but the next door neighbor, and that's the only significant thing that I could think of. And I'm like, well, maybe Sofia's getting some of the characteristics from Poison Ivy, a character that they would not really put into this universe, because as the director said, he's not trying to be fantastical with this world, and you can't have Poison Ivy in a non-fantastical setting. She makes plants grow the size of fucking city buildings and can eat people, and that's not going to happen in his world. So maybe he likes some of the things that she does and is going to give her some of that. And I started thinking, well, maybe I'm stretching, but she is using a plant for the drugs that she's pushing. She's taking control of the situation. I don't know. You think I'm tripping, or?
So I do want to dive back into that theory later, because it does tie into some stuff. I would say that you're reaching a little bit, because the fans would lose it if Pamela Isley was not, Poison Ivy. But let's put a pin in that, because I do want to point out something in your theory that does actually give you a little bit of leniency in that theory. So, so we are introduced to Magpie as who we know she is in the comics. She's a thief with hand-to-hand combat. She's attracted to shiny things. So when Magpie goes, "Ooh, the shiny things," I was like, "Oh, 100% Magpie." Like that's one of her characteristics. That's what she's known for in Batman. So acceptable. So we move on. We're introduced to Theo Rossi's character again, and we see him for the first time as in Arkham as a doctor, and they're doing a psych evaluation,
Right.
but it's a weird psych evaluation because they let a prisoner loose to attack Sophia on her first day in Arkham, and she gets the shit kicked out of her very first day. And with that being said, didn't they electrocute her? Which is weird. Like Carmine does so many fucked up things to her in there. Like this is just day one. This is just day one of her in Arkham. She's gotten the shit kicked out of her. She's been electrocuted. She's been called a murderer. All this type of thing. But the good thing that's happened to her is she's realized Bliss, the drug that she's selling, is in there. So we're starting to see where Bliss comes from and see the side effects of it with Magpie. It takes Magpie completely out of her element. She's all like losing it, but having a great. She's starting to see shiny things everywhere. It's a weird drug.
You could see like when we were doing the club scene, it's hard to tell what's going on because everybody's just chilling and high and doing whatever. But with this, you saw how Magpie was. She's nuts. And then all of a sudden, she just takes it, and it's just... We go on the ride with her for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that whole situation was just wild. They just kept on giving her the shock treatment. And I mean, all we're doing at this point is building up the case to feel so sorry for this girl, man. Sophia is getting... If she... Like, by the time she becomes a killer in this show, like, we know that she was driven to that point.
100%. So, what you said, so after a while, we see the same things over and over and over. Now, there's one of the tests where they do set Sophia up with a fork to kill the inmate that beat her up earlier, but Sophia doesn't want to do it. Right. She's not a killer. She's just a college girl that wants to do better for everybody. And the girl who beat her up, you can tell there's mental issues, and we're not any doctor, so we can't say what she has. But the girl is, at this point, at her wit's end. And she's saying, end it, end it, end it, end it. And Sophia won't do it, so she takes her own life, unfortunately, in this episode. And Sophia's crying and actually trying to save this girl.
Right.
The girl that beat her up, Sophia's crying and saying, help her, help me. Like, and
they're just watching. And they're just watching.
So they do end up blaming Sophia for her death. And Alberto comes in and says, I can't do anything. I'm trying to get you out, and I can't. They say that you're unfit, and they won't take you to trial. So you're stuck here, sis. I love you, and I will fight to the very end for you to get you home because I want you home, but I can't do anything right now.
Yep.
Sophia gets upset. Yeah, that is what brought out the true Sofia Falcone, and she goes back to the lunchroom where Magpie's getting drugs. She asks her, "Did you have anything to do with this?" And Magpie's no time, like zero time, to even answer her. And Sophia stands up and bashes Magpie's head into this metal table and kills her, which makes Magpie Sofia Falcone's first kill.
Victim number 1. Yeah, and it was a hardcore scene for sure. And like I said, we're set up for this theme that's going to keep going in the episode where she's pushed to it. And it's really the brink, like that point is like that was her hope. She was gonna get out after 6 months, and then they were like, there is no hope. And so once you took hope away from a person and they're getting tortured and there is nothing, then I mean, now she's just in it. And she's accepted that and she's broken. And so she killed that fool. False pretenses. R.I.P. Magpie. He was never here anyway. But you know, it's pretty hardcore. And meanwhile, we have like the side story with Dr. Rush, and then I was thinking like what you were saying is like that he was probably helping her get the drugs, but I'm not so sure now because when she does. We were done with that flashback. We show up at his apartment. He answered and he picked her up, and then they have kind of a conversation. And it's more so like, hey, I think you just liked watching me. Like this is why you were here. You enjoyed studying me, like me specifically. Maybe you think I'm hot. Maybe that gets you off. Like all this stuff. Like you like having the power. Like so. I feel like. We were giving him a lot of credit, and she opens one of his drawers, and he's got the drugs in there, too. He's taking.
Yeah, he's escaping reality himself. But to be fair, to live in Gotham, you have to have some type of vice.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I mean, hey. But, so she does have this conversation with Dr. Rush, and then it leads into this dinner, where it's Luca's finally taking over the story. The whole family's there after Alberto's death. It's a celebration now. And you see Sofia walk in this beautiful green cocktail dress. And she's listening to these speeches and Luca's talking, and she has the galls to stand up and cut him off in his speech and tell him, do you guys remember the last time we were all together? And she tells them how they screwed her over. Because there's one thing that we did forget to mention. Everyone at that table, her cousin, her uncle, Johnny Vitti, all of the Dons, they all wrote letters to the judge when she was first convicted, stating that she was crazy. But they did that under Carmine's word. So she has a grudge against these people for saying that she's a murderer, for putting her away for a decade. And she is talking to them with a vengeance. Now, previous episodes, Matador did mention her cousin's daughter, and her cousin got scared and tried to hold her daughter tight. And the little girl doesn't know what's going on. She thinks it's fine.
Right.
So her mother tells her to go lay down. She goes to lay down.
Yeah.
Now, after this speech, you see Sofia go get the little girl. And here's where your theory may be close. She does walk her down to the green room, the family's green room.
Yeah.
Where, for one, it's full of oxygen.
Lots of plants, baby.
Yes, and she does tell her, hey, me and my brother, we used to sleep down here all the time. This is our favorite place. We act like we were sleeping in the jungle. The little girl's excited. She thinks it's a sleepover. She's having a ball with her aunt. So the night goes on. But then morning comes. And Sofia begins to walk around the house. And with a gas mask on, and everybody's dead.
She hit him with a silent killer, bro.
Everyone, the entire family is dead.
Death by carbon monoxide poisoning.
And the last person's room she goes into, their window's open. Who's that last person? Fucking Johnny Vitti. He won't die.
He keeps escaping his moments, bro. He's supposed to. Oh.
So Johnny Vitti is still alive at the end of this episode, and you get Sofia knocking on his bed. Johnny, put your pants on. Like, bro, we got work to do. We got some grimy work to do. I gotta go find Oz. For one, I took care of everybody, and you my fucking dog now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put your ass to work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we know that a lot of her moves involved him, the Penguin, voluntold this fool he's finna be in on their situation, so she can't just off that fool, because that's not what she told the triads. She said, nah, I got his endorsement, not I'm about to kill him and he's finna be gone, so everybody else is dead. And so this kind of goes along with the plan, and I feel like that whole put your pants on is like, yeah, I think we're gonna see Johnny Vitti take the puppet master, like, no, the puppet role of like, I'm in charge, when he's really not. Sophia's just gonna pull the strings from behind, and I think that's a reference to like, go put those pants on, and I'm telling you to do it. So, and I mean, are you really gonna mess with me? I just killed every single person that you know, including your whore, my my uncle's
my
wife.
aunt. Yeah, my aunt.
So, I mean, it was a crazy ending to the episode. Like we talked about at the very beginning, it was one of the most strongest ones, mainly because I was trying to see what Sophia's got going on. I wanted to see what that was like for her in Arkham, and we got to see it, and they showed it, and it was brilliant. The only thing I leave you here with is my other theory, which is it's just something I thought about, because I took in the episode much like how we talked about. We just took it for what it is, but I have a theory that also maybe this isn't exactly what it seems, because we're basing it off of Sophia's recollection. This is a flashback, but is it a flashback or is it her memory? And if her memory is the memory of a crazy person who was tortured, maybe she doesn't remember correctly. And is this the trauma of her mother being dead and making her forget? Maybe Carmine's not the hangman. Maybe Sophia is the hangman, dog. And maybe when she told him, he's like, hey, why are you trying to say I did any of this? This was you, and you're nuts. I'm about to put you away, fool. You ain't supposed to try to blame me.
I mean, I'm with you. I'll let you have your stretch, theories. But all I'm saying is Carmine is proven to be, he loves strangulation. Even in the Batman, before Catwoman scratched him, there was already scratches from other women on his face.
He's definitely slimy murderer material. I know he's supposed to be the hangman here, but sometimes, hey, that's what they try to do, bro. They're trying to tell us stories for some sort of blow up, and I'm just trying to do some detective work. I'm trying to unlock my inner Batman, Sherlock Holmes. You know what I'm saying? And listen, my theory sounded like a farce until we saw the greenhouse, right? And then it starts to come together. So maybe, I just want y'all to sit on it, and maybe if that does happen, y'all be like, this guy right here, he should be Batman. I'm Detective of the Year, baby. Let's go.
So before we go, I do have one funny thing that I did hear from. They were like, did you realize that this show takes place during the day? A lot of this show takes place during the day. And you want to know why? Because Batman needs to take a nap.
Dang, bro. I didn't even think about that until you even said that, bro. Yeah, a lot of it is during the day. It would explain his absence.
Heavy absence. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the nightclub scene was at night, but you said some of it, not all of it.
Not all of it, but most of the show takes place during the day.
Which brings me to a little criticism, and I mean, they don't have to do that, but I feel like with the Batman's opening, right, and his whole speech about how they just, like, everybody fears, like, even if I'm not there, I'm everywhere. And that's like that whole thing. Like, I mean, you can't just put a bat signal up in the air. Like, we don't have to see him. He could be across the city somewhere else. But, like, all this happened. We don't even see the bat signal once, like in the distance, bro. Like, and then they'll be like, "Hey, I ain't going outside today, dog. No. Yeah, I knew he was trying to do it, but nah, he's out there tonight, bro."
Yeah, we might see it soon. And with that being said, we are definitely enjoying the show and loving the show. Matador, tell them where they can find us.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3 Baker Street. No, that's my old house because I'm a detective. No, we're at the Retro Matador show here on YouTube, the channel. Just, give us a like and subscribe. If you love our content, we will be dropping it on the regular, so you will be the first to be privy of all this. I did shout out that we did hit our 50 subscriber mark. Woo!
Woo, woo.
And, we hope that we can continue to do this and grow our community. And we'd like to see what y'all think about what we're talking about. What are some of y'all's theories? Drop some comments. Let us know. And we engage with you. And we'll try to answer some of those questions. If you give us a question in the comments, I'm happy to answer. Retro's happy to answer in there. But maybe we talk about it on the show. This is a show for not just us to explore, but to everybody explore. And we hope that everybody's enjoying the Penguin as much as we are. But yeah, this is it for today's show. We got some more content coming. Just be on the lookout for that. And Retro, hey, dog, I'll miss you, bro. I was playing that I wasn't gonna miss you, bro. I'm gonna miss you, man. Hey, don't leave me here by myself, man. I
will be back next week. What the hell?
All right. We'll have fun at the festival, dog. The awesome horror film festival. It's gonna be dope. I wish I could be there, but I'm not because I gotta do this show. Somebody's gotta do it. Damn it.
That's right. Hold the fort down. But until then, my name is RetroDetro,
and I'm Matador Gabe,
and we'll see you later.